Today we will be installing RPM front control arms. These are the factory ones that I'm showing you. First, you're going to want to take the shocks off the A-arms. I use the Allen wrenches that come with the car. This was my first time replacing control arms on this car. Pretty simple procedure to do. You want to make sure that when you take the shocks off, there's pieces at the top, the cover for the shock. You want to make sure you take those off and you don't lose them. This is an Arrma Kraton 6S. It's hard to see in the video, but there's an Allen wrench that holds a little slide. You can see that I'm pulling out to get the shock off. I always like to leave all my components and the bolts that go with it together so it's easier to know where everything goes. Next, you're going to want to take the front Allens off. There's a plate in the front that holds the upper and lower control arms. Now you got the upper control arm off. There's that ball joint in the front. You can take the front Allen off the knuckle to do it that way. But what I ended up doing was grabbing some pliers. First you gotta take the pin off. There's a pin or a clip that goes right in between the ball joint and the A-arm. So I took some pliers and held the big part of the ball joint in place, and you just unscrew counterclockwise, like taking off a regular nut off a bolt. And they're pretty long, so that way they can stay on the control arm. And on the new RPM control arms, they're not threaded, so at first it takes a second to start the threads, but once you get them started, they pretty much go on nice and easy. And you want to make sure when you're putting these control arms on that the RPM logo is facing up. If you have them that, you're going to have them on the wrong way and your car won't steer the right way. Next, we need to do the lower control arm on that side. So there's a plate, as you can see, that I'm unscrewing to get the pin out. This was my first time doing it, so it took a little bit to figure out how that piece comes apart. On the skid plate up front, there's 2 bolts that go into the cover that holds the 2 pins, slide pins for the control arms. Once you take that off, you just got to slide the pin out. Like so. And then the drive shaft will come out. Just lift that off to the side. Make sure you match up to see, make sure that's the right side. Same thing, hold that ball joint nut, unscrew counterclockwise. I then grabbed a thin pair of vice grips and lightly held on to the ball joint without scratching it. Then you just do the opposite. How you took it off is how you put it back on. Slide the pin back in.